Hey everybody in Serial Killer Country, my name is Brittany Ransom.
And my name is Brian Joyner.
And this is When Killers Get Caught, a podcast devoted to deep dives into the lives and psyches of the killers we love to learn about. Each week, Brian and I find a true crime story that resonated with us. Then I will discuss one well-known or lesser-known killer, go into their childhood lives, methodology, and most importantly, how they got caught. And then we'll get a little spooky and learn something about cryptids or the supernatural from Brian. And I know some of you will be, I don't know, halfway sad, halfway happy. I got a couple of emails about people asking to be the new co-host, but
I'm back.
Yeah, sorry, you won't be needed. After I put that up last week, Brian let me know that he was ready to come back. So all is well.
I'm sorry. I told you like right before I listened to the podcast. And I was like, oh, well.
I don't know. I was just trying to prepare for the worst.
I was like, do you need me to? I can take another week off if you want. That's not a problem.
Nah. As anyone who listened can tell, when I don't have someone to talk to, I go pretty fast. So that was 30 minutes.
Well, we can make this one. We can stretch this out.
Yeah, definitely. And so, this week in True Crime, I was informed by one of our listeners to this podcast, and he also comments a lot on our TikTok and the live streams. You've seen him. Who dat?
Yes, who dat?
An update, I guess, sort of to Amy Bishop's saga. You remember Amy?
Oh, yes.
Yes. The murderous academic who's currently still in prison. And you remember that she had a brother who was named Seth, and
the one that
she shot Seth.
The one that she had, accidentally killed? Yes.
Right, when she was 18.
Yeah.
Well, when he was 18. Well, what Hudat let me know was at the end of May, Amy's son, who is also named Seth, named after...
Right, yeah.
Yeah, named after her brother, which she told nobody about until much later. Yeah, Amy's son died.
Oh.
He was murdered. He was shot.
Was it by Amy?
No.
Okay.
By another one of his friends. As far as the police are saying, is that they're calling it a shooting incident. And that it seems like it wasn't like someone was trying to hurt him, but that they might have been doing something reckless with a weapon. And that the 18-year-old who was charged with shooting him, it says he was aware his actions could cause significant risk or bodily harm to other people. They haven't gone into too much details, but...
This sounds familiar.
I know. This Seth was 20.
Okay, so he was older than Amy's brother when he died.
Not by much, though.
Yeah, 2 years, but still.
It's almost like, apparently...
The name's cursed. You're cursed.
If your name is Seth Bishop...
Yeah.
or in this case, his name was Seth Bishop Anderson.
Well, I feel for
that
you.
is a cursed name.
Yeah.
I feel bad for them, too, yes. They gave it just updates. Amy's still, in prison. She's 56 now. And that's just a bummer.
Yeah, that's pretty sad.
Yeah. So, I was pretty surprised. I was like, wow, of all the irony of ironies, you'd think maybe you'd stay away from guns after what happened to your mom, but you never know. Because he's 20 now, and that happened in 2010. So he was only 9 years old when she got put in prison.
Yeah, true.
So he's been predominantly raised by his mom. But yeah, I was really surprised. I was like, what? They haven't given too much more information about it. Yeah. Like you said, it's like history repeating itself.
Definitely.
I mean, this is, at this point, this family this is a third generation of gun violence in this family.
Yeah.
First the brother, then mom, like 20 years later, and now the son, 10 years later.
It's crazy. Oh, goodness. Yeah, stay away from the name Seth, and try to stay away from guns.
One of my friends who I play with every week at D&D or any of our tabletop games, his name is Seth, but Seth is a sweetheart.
Okay, well,
We call him our Aggie boy, as we call him. He might listen to this, so I hope he appreciates the shout out.
Oh.
He will stay inside his house. He will not be playing with guns with strangers.
Yay! There you go.
But
God.
yeah, and that's really all that Massachusetts is putting out in terms of information about that.
Okay.
It was definitely surprising.
Awesome. So my story is not a true crime story at all.
Okay.
It's a weird news story though.
Okay.
Well, it's sort of weird. I mean, you probably find it cringy.
I'm here.
So, cicadas are a thing nowadays, right?
Is this that video about that lady?
That's not a video. I haven't seen the lady video.
I saw a video of a lady collecting them and cooking them.
Oh, okay. Cool. So.
Okay, it's not about that. Thank goodness. That was gross.
Well, actually.
Oh, Jesus.
It's just my glasses.
Tell me more.
So, where's this at? Bethesda, Maryland.
Oh, a couple hours away.
Yeah. A pastry chef named Sarah Dwyer.
Okay.
She sells chocolate-coated cicadas.
Oh, this was different.
But yeah, she sells chocolate-covered cicadas, and I guess it's not this. Is it? No, it might just be like the. I don't think it is. I was gonna say it's not like the actual cicada. It's just their shell.
The shells.
That they like.
Oh no!
It might be that, but it might just be cicadas.
Well, the lady that I saw, she had a whole TikTok, and she went outside and she was picking them up and throwing them in boxes, and they were like in like a bucket, and they were definitely moving. Yeah. And then she was also rinsing them, and they were definitely moving. Yeah. And then she was throwing them in a pot, and they were moving until they boiled. And then she took them and strained them out, and she dumped that into a pan, and then she seasoned them with Old Bay.
Yeah. Okay. So this is sort of like that too. So she does use actual cicadas.
Okay.
And she fries them, and then she either coats them after she's done frying them. She either coats them with cinnamon or she coats them with Old Bay, and then she dips them in chocolate.
Okay. Here's the problem with that for me. Like,
did you know? Hold on. I'll interrupt you. My 12th grade science teacher, she told us, cicadas are out and blah, 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 blah. She brought in some cicadas, like their casing, what do you call it, or whatever.
The exoskeleton when they molt. Yeah,
they're moltings.
They're all over the place.
She's like, people have said that these taste like peanut butter. Would anybody like to try them?
Did you do it?
I did not try it.
Oh, come on!
I really wanted to, though. But I was just like, I don't know. It's a bug. I'm not taking that one out. This isn't a fear factor shit.
I remember one time I was at the big, like the little science center downtown.
Yeah.
And they had like a little bag of like cheese covered larvae.
Oh, nice.
And I definitely like bought those on a dare and like ate them.
I mean, nowadays, yeah.
It didn't taste like anything special. The only difference for me with this is that like these are cicadas from like outside. These were not bugs that were bred in a clean facility to be eaten.
So since they're outside bugs, I'm not going to touch it.
I don't know. Like, I mean, technically, you could go outside into the pond and get a fish. Yeah. But I technically wouldn't do that in the river outside of my house either because it's gross.
It is gross looking. No, thank you. No river fish for me. But yeah, I know a lot of my friends, not a lot, but one of my friends, her and her son, they had like this whole jar of cicadas that they went out and collected. I'm not sure what they did with them.
That was my next question. So what are we doing with all the cicadas?
Yeah, I don't know.
Just waiting for them to die in the jar?
Maybe.
Like we used to do with fireflies?
Or eat them, cook them. They're good in protein. Come on now. Know that.
So is everything else. So are nuts. So are fava beans.
Yeah, but cicadas taste like nuts. They got a nutty smell when you fry them.
You've never eaten them. You cannot advocate for this.
I'm going off of this news report that I got. And from things my science teacher told me. So yes, I am going to say they are nutty.
I am going to talk to your science teacher right now.
Oh my God.
Brian's 12th grade science teacher. Did you eat them yourself? Because if you didn't, it doesn't count. Your opinion doesn't count.
Probably did.
Well, then it's all right. Then you can speak to what you
it's
experienced.
Science. You gotta experiment. It's science.
I'll leave that to the professionals.
We could do our own experiments. We're
you know what? That can be what
adults.
you do on your TikTok channel, your
Eat
TikTok
bugs,
page,
eat bugs,
whatever you want.
Experiment eating insects. What does this grasshopper taste like?
Wasn't there a guy on YouTube who gets stung? He got stung by all of the worst things that can sting you.
Why?
I forget his name. It's a really weird name. It's like unique.
He's dead, right?
Huh?
Is he dead?
No.
Oh.
It just hurts real bad.
Oh, yeah, obviously. Oh, by the way.
Yes.
I haven't said this because I haven't been here all month, but happy Pride Month.
Yeah.
Your glass. I was looking at your glass. I was like, oh, hey, by the way, happy Pride Month.
Oh, yeah. I've been wearing those all month.
Yeah. I've been wearing whenever I tie my hair back, I've been doing that lately.
Oh.
I've been tying my hair back. And I put my hat on. My nice knitted rainbow hat.
Aw.
It's Pride Month.
Hey, that's fun. Happy Pride to everybody who that is celebrating.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. When Killers Get Caught is sponsored by the Magic Class Boutique. Now, why does that name sound so familiar? Well, it's because it's a business ran by our very own Brittany. That's right, the Magic Class Boutique is not only a black-owned business, it's a woman-owned as well. This is a jewelry company that makes some pretty awesome earrings, ranging from cute little sushis to spooky mermaid skeletons. There are even adorable self-defense keychains for those just-in-case moments. And introducing the Serial Collection. This set of earrings is based off of serial killers and the official merch for the podcast. This collection features everything a serial killer would need to pull off their crimes, from hunting knives at the beginning of their crimes to warden keys for when they eventually get caught. Check out themagicclasp.com today, where you can use our promo code CAUGHT to receive 15% off of your online order. That's THEMAGICCLASP.com and use promo code CAUGHT for 15% off. And make sure you tell Brittany that I sent you.
Now, on to the normal festivities.
Yay!
Well, this is going to be a little different. So, a couple podcasts back, you brought up some local lore in the way of local cryptids.
Yes.
And so I was looking into Pennsylvania-based killers.
Oh.
So if you are from Pennsylvania, this is going to be an interesting episode for you.
Also, I'm really excited already.
There are, of course, a lot.
Of course.
And of the serial killer variety, there is, of course, Gary Heidnik, who inspired Buffalo Bill.
Mm-hmm.
He lived in Philadelphia and he kept women in his basement. I'm not going to be discussing him tonight. What I was looking through was, remember when a couple of months ago, I bought the Encyclopedia of Serial Killers from Michael Newton, and I bought a couple different volumes of that. They're right next to you on the shelf. And that led me to a killer I'd never heard of called the Frankford Slasher. And then down an entire rabbit hole of looking up articles from the Philadelphia Inquirer and reading 2 or 3 different books from Michael Newton, another book from Antonio Mendoza, and also Harold Schechter. So just giving references for those who are listening, people who look up, people you can look up later.
Nice. Okay.
For our non-Philadelphia listeners, I want to explain to you the area that is Frankford, Philadelphia. It's an area in Northeast Philadelphia, about 6 miles northeast of Center City, which is generally where you're going to go when you are. Center City is where you're going if you're a tourist, pretty much. There's a major transit hub there, part of the rail system known as SEPTA, the Southeastern Pennsylvania Transit Authority. I took the Market Frankfurt train line on an almost daily basis for about 10 years. My sister still lives in Philadelphia. And unlike a lot of my stories that I uncover, I identify the killer and I tell you who they are and why they work that way. And I kind of work you through the person's life. But this is one of those rare cases where there's still a lot that's unsolved about the Frankfurt slasher. And someone was convicted of the crime, but a lot of people don't believe he did it. So what I'm going to walk you through is the murders. And then I will let you, Brian, and our audience decide what's the truth here.
Oh, goodness. You got an unsolved...
Well, it's solved, but it's not solved in the same way that, episode 17 with Ken Rex McElroy.
We know what happened.
It's unsolved, but it was solved.
Yeah, we know what happened. He died.
We know that boy with the shotgun, with the rifle, definitely was one of the shots.
Who's the Dale?
Dale was there, but he wasn't there. He definitely wasn't there.
Didn't do it. Freaking boy Dale. He ain't shit.
So this whole situation started August 26, 1985. And transit workers found the body of a woman as they started their workday at the SEPTA train yard, which is located at Penn and Bridge Street in the lower northeast section of Frankfurt. It was about 8:30 in the morning. The victim was nude from the waist down. She had been posed in a lewd position, and her shirt was pulled up to expose her breasts. Her name was Helen Patton. She was 52 years old, and she actually lived in Parkland, Pennsylvania, which is like 10 minutes away. Helen had been sexually assaulted, but she'd also been stabbed 47 times. Oh. In her head and chest predominantly, but there's also a stab wound in her arm, and then one particularly deep one in her stomach that had exposed like some of her organs. Oh.
Lovely.
The police constructed, a typical timeline of her death. She had a husband, but they were separated. They were separated and they lived together. And he had last seen her on August 19th. She had left about a week before then, the week before she was murdered. Mm-hmm. And she hadn't really told him where she was going. And they kind of lived completely separate lives. A lot of local people in Frankfurt told the Inquirer that they were surprised that she didn't live in Frankfurt because she spent so much of her time in that area of the city.
But she lived only 10 minutes away, right?
Well, see, you gotta. This is how the weird big city life thing works, though. Like, I used to live in West Philadelphia, and I rarely left the area. Shut up. More than I needed to, and I had a friend who lived literally 15 minutes across the river in Mapleshade, New Jersey. And one time we were trying to we had met in a completely different location, and and then we'd been friends online for a little while. And so one day we were talking, and she was like, "Oh, you should come to Mapleshade." And I was like, "I don't have a car. I just take SEPTA everywhere." And she was I was like, "Well, it's not that far." And she was like, "Oh, I don't go to Philly." People don't leave their areas. If a train doesn't go there, you don't go there. That's how it is.
I don't go to Philly.
I used to visit Steph in Northeast Philly, and I would get off at the Frankfurt train station and take a bus up to her house. Because that was a straight shot down the train and then a straight shot up the boulevard.
I didn't have to do no alternate routes or nothing for that one.
It's just, I don't know. It's just a weird thing. I even do it here in this town. I do almost everything on this side of the river other than go to work.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't go over, they're my kids are like, "Oh, have you been to this restaurant? Have you been to this smoothie place?" And I'm like, "Oh, where's that?" And they're like, "Oh, it's down the road." I don't do anything over there.
I don't go across the river.
I stay in my neighborhood. Listen, this is why you're never going to find me missing.
Oh my God.
Y'all know where I am. If you know me, you know where I am.
If she's not where she's supposed to be, there's trouble.
When I leave, it's brief moments. Go to a city 30 minutes away. Go to Philly. Bloop, 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 bloop. That's me. So that's why they were surprised, because she was always in Frankfurt. And I'll explain why in a little bit, but pretty much it's because that area, especially in 1985, it was a lot of bars. And so the police kind of posited that maybe she met somebody, and that was the person who had assaulted her and murdered her. But without much to go on at that point, they just were like,
No.
we don't have any other evidence. And nothing else happened for about 4 or 5 months.
Oh, wow.
And then on January 3rd, 1986, 68-year-old Anna Carroll was found. This one was different, though. The door to her apartment on the 1400 block of Rittner Street was wide open. It was the middle of winter, and she was on her bedroom floor. Just like Helen, nude from the waist down, she'd been stabbed 6 times in the back, and there was one large cut from her breastbone down to her groin that was done after she died. So it wasn't even like the means to harm her. It was almost like a calling card at this point.
Okay.
And then the kitchen knife that had been used to kill her was left in her stomach.
Of course it was. Why wouldn't he take it with him?
So 1400 Rittner is about 10 miles from Frankfurt, but the police kind of were like, that's a really distinctive thing, the cut in the abdomen.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, that's suspicious, you know. And there were some articles from 1986 that were like, is this related? But the police were just like, no. These are isolated, different incidents.
Oh, obviously, well, no. How?
Well, one of the things that they ignored was that even though Helen and Anna lived in different cities, both Helen and Anna were a fan of the local bars on Frankford Avenue.
The same bar?
Yes.
Oh, interesting. And let me just say this too. They're both older women. One's in their like mid-40s and the other one's in their 50s, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not like some type of pattern like
the first one was 52 and the second one was 68.
Oh.
So these are all, at this point, all women over 50.
Look, come on. Pattern. They're connected.
We'll see.
Especially with the abdomen stabbing. Come on. Or the cut, whatever. Okay, sorry. Continue.
No, you're good. No, you're great. So then we hit our third victim. Her name is Susan Olseth. She's killed Christmas of 1986. Similar to Anna, her door is open. She's found stabbed in the back. Her home was on Richmond Street, which was much closer to the first murder.
Okay.
All 3 women were seen at a bar called Goldie's on the 5200 block of Frankford Avenue. This was very clear to some of the journalists writing about this at the time in the Philadelphia Inquirer. But the police were like, listen, Franklin's, it's just a busy area. And it is. I will say that. It is a busy area. It's got a lot of people traveling through on a daily basis.
Yeah, but they frequented the bar. They all went to the same bar.
Here goes my quest to make Brian very frustrated by the end of my portion of the podcast. Well, I'm going to give some background on Frankfurt at this point. So this started as a suburb of Philadelphia. It was the headquarters for a traveling circus. The Philadelphia Symphony Orchestra used to perform there. It was the original place where the football team that would eventually become the Philadelphia Eagles first played. The elevated train, which everybody there still calls the L, even though they call it the Market Frankfurt train now.
Yeah, I know the L train.
Right. It was always the L. That came in 1922. And that is what brought a lot of people moving to the area because now they had access. By the time the 80s hit, crimes were happening the way that crimes are still happening in Frankfurt. It's got a lot of slum landlords, struggling businesses, prostitutes, drugs. Frankfurt Avenue used to be known as King's Highway, and it's about 13 blocks long, and there are loads of shops, and it is directly beneath the L. In fact, if you have watched Rocky, you have seen sections of Frankfurt Avenue because they were specifically chosen to be the area of Philadelphia that looks kind of gritty.
Right. Okay.
Like I said, I used to take the train from 40th and Market all the way to the end and take a bus to my job on Roosevelt Boulevard. I used to visit staff. in my lifetime, it has not really been an area where I would think to hang out and chill. Usually for me, like, it's whatever you get off the train, because it's the end stop. And there's a bunch of buses that connect from there. Everybody is just immediately moving off. Like, even I haven't been there in like 5 years. I will say that to anybody who's listening and lives in Philly, but because I moved 5 years ago. But
so what you're saying is nobody ever like chills.
Well, so here's the thing. But you remember, you got those people. These are all older people.
Yeah.
And I know those dive bars where old people just chill. It's just a thing.
It's a thing, because I gotta do it. Well, back when, bars are open again now, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I would just, go to, like, I have a bar.
Oh, so you have a bar where you just go and chill?
Sometimes, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm an old man. I don't care.
Stop it. But in the 80s and definitely the early 90s, this area was more of a bustling nightlife. Like a lot of Philadelphia, it was a spot where no matter when you get off the train, which used to run 24 hours, it doesn't anymore, you could stop, get a drink, get something to eat, stop by a bar. That is one of the things I miss the most about Philadelphia. The fact that so much never closed, or it didn't close until like midnight. Getting used to things closing at 7 p.m. is awful.
It is terrible.
Like, even now, I'm like, oh, I'm going to order from this place. And it's like, we don't open again until Tuesday. Screw you.
I don't even think, like, when I was living in Lancaster, they closed, like, this early.
It's just this area.
Yeah.
And you would think, but whatever.
Yeah.
But regardless, like, definitely in the, like, late 80s, early 90s, the area was open all the time. So there were a lot of people running through there all day. Like I said, there's still lots of people moving through there. So the police didn't think much of like 3 murders that happened in a big city in 3 different smaller neighborhoods in that area. Especially when I was a kid, people called the city Philadelphia. And it definitely had a reputation a little bit different from what it is today. Like where I used to live, when I say, in West Philadelphia, when I was like little, they called it the Bottom. And that was like the bottom of West Philly. And like all of West Philly was very rough. Well, when I was growing up there, like it was where the colleges were. And there's this whole little area now called University City.
Yeah.
It's got loads of stores, and it's definitely a little on the gentrification side, but also kind of not. You just got to walk a couple blocks off of U City.
You'll see.
Yeah, and it's same way here. You know how there's like
Exactly,
2 blocks that look great, then they go another block forward, and you're back in the hood. That's just how it is. But yeah, so I mean, now Philadelphia, like, I see articles all the time that are like, Philadelphia is one of the most cultured cities in America, yada, yada, yada. But about 30 years ago, it was still called Philadelphia, and there were spots that were rough. Regardless, we're talking, the last murder was December of 86. So this is not even a full month later. This is like 2 weeks later.
Oh, okay.
January 8th, 1987, 7:30 a.m. There's a lady by the name of Jeanne Durkin. She's the youngest victim so far at 28 years old.
Oh, wow.
She lived on the street, and she usually slept in the doorway of an abandoned bakery that was 2 doors away from what bar? Goldie's.
Yeah, Goldie's.
There's a small dispute as to where her body was found. I saw some articles in the Inquirer state that like a restaurant employee found her underneath a storage truck. But then in the Michael Newton book, he said that she was under a fruit stand on Pratt Street, west of Frankford Avenue. And just like Helen, she was stabbed an excessive amount of times. Her chest, butt, and back. Actually 74 times.
Oh.
This killing was a block away from the first one. She was found visually the same way, nude from the waist down. She was also assaulted. She was propped similarly to Helen Patton, and the crime scene was described as just being horrific. Blood on the ground, the fences of like the nearby houses even on a side of a van that was on the street as well.
Had blood on it.
Everywhere, which is, it makes sense because stabbing someone 74 times is a lot of stabbing.
True.
This is a really big headline. And at this point, the public is like, this sure sounds like a serial killer, Philly PD. What are you doing? And the locals were definitely given a lot of pressure to Philly PD to solve this. And the newspapers just outright said, Philadelphia has a serial killer. At one point, they were calling him like the Northeast Stabber or Northeast Slasher. I'm not exactly sure when it switched to the Frankfurt Slasher, but regardless.
That should have been like the first name because it's weird.
Right. Well, so I'm referencing another serial killer in the beginning, right? Yeah. Well, that was 1985 to 1989. Philadelphia actually had 3 serial killers.
At the same time?
Same time. Remember a couple weeks ago on TikTok, I said that 1987 was one of the most poppin' years for serial killers?
Yeah, I remember.
The 80s, for some reason, there's this little pocket of time when things just got crazy.
They're still crazy.
You're right. But so we had Gary Heidnik, kidnapped women, kept them in his basement on North Marshall Street, which isn't that far from where these were happening. He'd been using those women as sex slaves, also eating parts of them, and storing the corpses that didn't survive his torture. He's one of the people that they based Buffalo Bill off of. There's also a man named Marty Graham who also lived in North Philly and had got evicted from his home in August of 87 because it smelled bad. And when the police came to make sure he had left because it was an official eviction, they found 7 corpses.
Oh.
And fun fact, Marty said they were there when he moved in.
This thing, it didn't bother to move them?
Nope.
So they were just there. Obviously, you didn't do this, sir. So we're just going to let you go.
Well, yeah, so now it's 87. And Philly now has a 3rd serial killer in it. So they're like, this is kind of serious. Philadelphia PD formed a task force. They started canvassing that area, those 13 blocks underneath the L. Talking to anyone in the neighborhood to see if anybody had witnessed anything. A lot of attention was put on Goldie's because all of the victims had been in there before they died. They spent hours questioning bartenders. One of them they interrogated for hours because she'd known all of the women as regulars and had even allowed Durkin to come in when it was cold and just chill there. Nice. Regardless of whether she bought that bartender, her name was Dee Hughes, told the Inquirer that she was pretty sure it was probably somebody who was a patron there.
Yeah, like a regular guy.
Yeah, she's like, I'm pretty sure it's somebody here.
I'm not gonna say it was even think of it being a woman. It's a fucking man doing this shit.
Well, so Olsef had been in the bar 3 days before she died. So far, all of our victims had different personalities. So Olsef was very popular. She talked to a lot of people. Carol was quiet, bought her own drinks, kept to herself. Durkin was different. People who lived in the neighborhood said that she wasn't the kind of person who would have been taken down easily. She'd been arrested previously, and there was another situation that happened where 6 officers tried to get her into a cop car, and they couldn't, so they gave up.
Oh. Let that have it.
So Jeanne Durkin was a fighter. Which might explain why there were so many stab wounds.
Right. Okay.
Sometimes they say you don't want to make your attacker angry.
Well.
But
I'm one to make my attacker angry.
Listen, I said one of us gonna die tonight, fam. This is just how this is gonna work, buddy.
Yeah, you wanna take me down real bad.
There you go. Oh, but this did give the police some insight into the kind of person who would be able to take her down. Essentially, either she knew this person and she knew them really well, and she had her guard down, or the amount of time she was stabbed correlating to her fighting back. And that, in a sense, she might have made that person angry, and that's why they continued to keep stabbing her, even though she was dead.
Gotcha.
The only other information they really had was that Durkin and another homeless woman had gotten into a fight over a blanket the night before her death, but that wasn't a whole lot to go on, and it was highly unlikely that some lady who just wanted a blanket had violated her sexually. So, like we're another wall. This one, I think, kind of freaked people out. Durkin was young, she was strong, she was street smart. Even though she'd been in and out of mental institutions for most of her life, she was just this tough chick. And actually, on January 20th, 2 weeks after her murder, I saw an article about like a vigil and then like people praying for, who to figure out who the killer was. And also they were like out to show like, we looking for you.
Mm-hmm. We gonna find.
Now, here's where you're going to probably get exasperated because I was too. A year goes by. There's no more information about Jeanne Durkin or any of the other murders. So the police begin telling journalists that they aren't sure that this is a serial killer after all. Maybe it had just been 4 different similar murders in a neighboring area of a major metropolis.
I hate their faces.
I know.
Are you kidding me? Come on now.
But yeah, nothing else happens in 1987.
Sorry, that scared me.
That was I don't know if you guys can actually hear that, but there was a very loud thunder crack. And it happened right as I paused.
I was not expecting that. I was like, what the fuck?
Oh god, this feels like when we first started. Why is this so hard?
Oh man.
Anyway, the next killing, November 11th, 1988. Almost 20 months after Jeanne Durkin. But the MO is the same. Margaret Vaughn, 66 years old, found in the lobby of her apartment building on the 4900 block of Penn Street. She had been evicted from that same apartment that day. She was stabbed 29 times, and this was 3 blocks away from where Jeanne Durkin was found.
Huh.
A bartender at a local bar, different one, not Goldie's this time.
Okay.
Mentioned that Margaret had been in the bar with a Caucasian man with a round face who had a limp and wore glasses.
Oh.
The two had had drinks together. And this was the first time that the police had any information about any of them being around another person.
Right. Yeah, which is really weird. Like,
right?
The bartender didn't see these women talking to people while they're in there?
I think some of them were talking to a lot of people, some of them were talking to nobody.
Yeah, okay. Well.
So they do a sketch. It was released to the public, put all over, but nobody knew who he was. 2 months later, January 19th, 1989, her name is Teresa Scortino. She's found in her apartment, stabbed 25 times. She lived on Errett Street, which was 3 blocks away from where Margaret Vaughn was found and 2 blocks away from Frankford Avenue. She was found wearing only a pair of socks in her kitchen. She'd been cut with one of her own kitchen knives on her face, arms, and chest. This time, the attacker used a piece of wood to assault her.
Oh.
And he left the knife and the wood on the sink and a bloody footprint behind.
Oh. He's getting careless. He's leaving more evidence behind. Okay.
We shall see. She was 30. And so she had a lot of the similarities to Durkin. They both had a history of being in psychiatric facilities. Scortino had just been released from one and was attending outpatient treatment. Also similar to Durkin, Scortino put up a fight. And they think that's why she sustained so many cuts. They said that there was blood all over her apartment and the whole place was like messed up. So she definitely also put up a fight. Also similar to all the other victims so far, Scortino hung out on the Frankford Strip, and some of her neighbors told reporters that she had a lot of gentlemen callers.
Okay.
One of her neighbors actually said, this is quite possibly the shadiest, nicest way to say this, she had a lot of company.
Jealous.
I don't know if they were hinting that maybe she might have been doing like some prostitution on the side. It's thoroughly plausible, but that was never fully put in the papers.
Either way, you're jealous.
She'd been seen last at the Jolly Post Tavern, which is on Griscom and Errett Street. She had also been seen with a white middle-aged man wearing glasses.
Oh, another round-faced guy.
Now we're at 6 victims.
God.
The police are like, we're open to the possibility of a serial killer. One of the things that caused confusion here is that some of them were following like the FBI. Because remember, the whole creation of the FBI figuring out serial killers had only been enacted for about a decade.
Yeah.
So some of them were following very strictly the guidelines from the FBI, and this wasn't fully following that. Yes, these are serial murders, but they're not happening nearly as frequently as the FBI says that they should be happening. Also, but we also know that the FBI only says that there are 30 to 50 serial killers ever active at the same time, and I don't know how much I believe that.
Yeah. Like, if they're in the same area, that's a fucking serial killer. There's something going on. Anyway.
But here's the thing. All the women are white. All of them were killed in the same 10-mile radius. Mm-hmm. The stabbings are all vicious. There's almost no evidence and no witnesses. That sounds serial to me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
The police just...
No. What are you talking about? This is some random people doing some random things.
I will say, they gave it a good college try. They did loads of hours of interviews with everybody they could. They had no leads. They even searched the sewers and the trash cans near Scortino's apartment for clues, but they didn't find anything.
So they were taking out like the local bars and stuff like that.
Well, so the police also looked at another case that had happened around the same month. And one did pop up. A lady was named Catherine Jones. She was 29 years old, and she was found in the snow, partially frozen, January 29th. Oh. She was found in another area of Philadelphia referred to as Northern Liberties. Northern Liberties is North Philly, but gentrified.
Okay.
I feel like that's the only way I can explain that. Especially now. It's like loads of like trendy places. It's not very, I would say, if you've been to Philadelphia, it's not far from, say, Chinatown. So it's more eastern than where Frankford is. Frankford is you're going much further north into the east. Mm-hmm. This is like kind of directly east, bordering on where the river is, this neighborhood. Okay. I guess it's a very trendy area of town. So she's found in Northern Liberties. No, she was a waitress who also spent a lot of time at the bars on Frankford because it's not that far away. Mm-hmm. But there were differences here. Catherine was bludgeoned to death, so they ultimately decided not to add her to the official victim list of the Frankfurt slasher.
Just because she wasn't cut?
Because she wasn't cut.
Okay.
Things got quiet again. No more crimes for the rest of 1989 until April 29th, 1990. About 2 a.m., people find the nude body of Carol Dowd in an alley behind Newman's Seafood, which was a fish market at 4511 Frankfurt Avenue. Carol was 46, and she had been beat up as well as stabbed 36 times in her face, neck, chest, and back. Same as the early victims, deep cut in her abdomen, and actually it was reported that her intestines were out of her body, which seems excessive.
Yeah, just a little bit.
The killer had even cut off one of her nipples.
Oh, come on.
She had defensive wounds all over her hands. Her clothes, even though she was naked, her clothes were there, as was her purse. Police were they found her so soon because they were in the area because of a burglary, and they determined that she had died between midnight and 1:40 a.m. So they were right there, almost right there when it happened.
So close.
A witness reported that they'd seen Dowd with an older white man just a couple hours before. He had a round face, glasses, but this time he was wearing a hat. Just like Durkin and Scortino, Dowd had a history of mental illness and had been institutionalized, and she was living in a community facility for people who had schizophrenia. For a lot of people, this unnamed white man was definitely the killer. like, so there's lots of wild assumptions. Maybe he's following them from the bars, you know, grabbing them as they open their door. Totally happens. Why they tell you to look before you just open your door.
Yep.
They have now released 3 different separate police sketches, interviewed people who all saw this white man with several of the victims. Who do you think gets arrested for this crime?
A bartender?
Nope.
Someone that works at a bar?
Not even.
Somebody's boyfriend? Husband?
Think more about the fact that I just mentioned to you that he is a white man.
Is it a black guy?
You're damn right!
You did not arrest no black guy.
Absolutely!
Oh my god, I'm done with the story.
I told you I was going to find a way to frustrate you before the night was done.
Done with this shit. All right.
So they started interviewing the people who worked at the fish market. And one of the people they interviewed, his name was Leonard Christopher. And he worked at the fish market. He lived nearby. He liked to go to all the bars nearby too. And he told reporters that the location had been burglarized a lot. So when he saw the police there, he assumed that that was why. The area, like I said, full of crime, prostitution, drug deals, not uncommon. If you live in certain areas of Philadelphia, you wake up, you see the cops, you go, huh? And you go back to getting ready for work. Leonard told the police that he known Margaret Vaughn, which was not a good idea. Despite being a young black man, they looked at him knowing several of the victims and living in that area as, you are the number 1 suspect.
How old was he? Or is he?
I'm trying to... for some reason, I did not write that down. Leonard Christopher. He looks so young.
Because just basic math would just help them out.
I mean, he looks pretty young to me. They never said his age in any of the books, but like, he looked like a man in his 30s
that's
easily.
Suspicious, right there. He looks like right now he looks like he's in his 30s.
Well, he's not alive now, but
okay.
He looked in like the photos from his trial that he looked like he's roughly in his maybe late 30s at best. Huh. Which means, judging the way that black people age, he might have been in his early 40s. Some folks are just blessed with aging well. So he could have been, you know, between the 30s and 40s. Yeah. So it's not that crazy. Okay. When they asked, he did some stuff here that also made him more suspicious. When they asked him where he was the night of the murder, he told them he was with his girlfriend. She told them she had slept alone.
What?
He had been at the same bar as Dowd. And a local prostitute reported seeing him at that bar. And another placed him at the fish market that morning, sweating with a large knife on his belt. Mind you, that is an item he would use for his job if he is, you know, preparing fish.
Maybe, okay.
They searched his apartment, and this was a couple days later, and they did find clothes that had blood on them. But the problem with that is that when they also talked to one of his coworkers, Leonard had been tasked with cleaning up the back alley where all that happened. So, of course, there was probably going to be some blood, you know. But a lot of people in the community were like, no, this doesn't seem right. Like, they vouched for him. They said, like, he's a good guy.
Yeah, where do y'all get this? Okay, y'all get these sketches for this white guy, and oh no, you fit our description, sir.
And the thing is, like, I totally understand being afraid and maybe like saying things that were stupid, but he made some really weird choices.
Yeah, just tell the truth. Like, where were you? Like, I was picking up a prostitute. I'm not
right. Like, that's why I was with my girlfriend.
Yeah. Like,
but instead he was like, "No, I was at our house. We were She crazy. I just came in late."
Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking when she said he wasn't with her, and he was at the bars and
right. Maybe he was trying to pick somebody up, and that's why he didn't want anybody to know. But regardless,
yep. Like, look, man.
They arrested him May 5th, 1990, on charges of robbery, abuse of a corpse, murder, and possession of an instrument of crime, and held without bail, which seemed like an open and shut case. Especially as far as big city policing goes, especially in a city where there is a lot of crime. They are trying to close these cases and move this along. So his first little preliminary trial was a month later in June. They felt like there was enough circumstantial evidence to proceed. 2 women testified that they'd seen him the night of the murder. One said she saw him walk into the alley behind the fish mart at about 1 a.m. and that she'd heard someone scream, but she left with a client, so she didn't see anything after that. Another woman claimed to have seen him leave the alley carrying his shirt over his arms and a knife on his belt. Now, Christopher, he had a defense attorney named Jack McMahon. And McMahon pointed out that the witness testimony kind of contradicted each other. He also pushed to get the robbery charge dropped because all of Dowd's items were still in her purse, including cash. Like, it just looked like her purse fell on the ground. Regardless, though, Christopher remained in jail. No bond. The neighborhood kind of was like, this doesn't seem right, but also someone's in prison for this, so are we safe now?
No. The wrong person's in prison for this.
Because while he is in prison, on September 6th, 1990, a woman, she's referred to by 2 different names in multiple articles. Michelle Diener or Michelle Martin. She is found in her apartment on Errett Street, not very far from Franklin Avenue. Michelle had actually been the woman who had gotten in a fight with Jeanne Durkin before Durkin was murdered. Yep. But now, obviously, she was no longer a suspect. She had been stabbed 23 times in the chest and stomach. There was no sign of forced entry like any of the other apartment attacks. There was no obvious murder weapon, and this was 3 blocks from Carol Dowd. And it was on the same street as the Teresa Scortino murder in 1989. Diener Martin was a drinker, and she was also a paranoid loner who people referred to in the newspaper as Crazy Michelle. She, obviously at one point when she was fighting with Durkin on the street, she had been homeless. She struggled heavily with mental illness. People said that she sometimes barricaded herself in her apartment and would throw things out of the window at people. She was only 30. She went to all the same bars as all the other women. And that was when she wasn't like selling pretzels on the street. She was often drinking at those bars all day. The day before her murder, she was seen with a middle-aged white man.
So they let this guy out, right? Why not?
Well, the locals were pretty solid. This is definitely not Christopher. And they were like, you got the wrong guy. Articles pointed out Christopher doesn't match the description of the killer. Like, this is just a bad bust. October 27th of the same year, a bunch of citizens marched in the rain through all of the different areas where all the women had been killed. They had a candlelight vigil. It was very much like neighborhood watch. We're doing this. Philly PD are patrolling at this point all of the bars on Frankford, watching women who fit the profile. They had investigated over 50 men who looked like the police sketch, were surveilling some of them, and had a couple more leads they were following. But the issue is these crimes didn't have a really solid pattern. All they had was like a victim typology, really.
Yeah.
The crime scenes were violent and covered in blood, but there was never a report of anyone covered in blood walking around the area.
Yeah, there's no Richard
Like,
Ramirez.
I saw the lady's like, I saw Leonard Christopher walking with his shirt over his arm and a knife. If you stab someone 29 times, there's going to be a lot of blood on you and the surrounding area.
Absolutely.
Like, Crime Stoppers was fielding calls from people, like, reporting their bus drivers and neighbors with grudges telling on each other.
God, I love that.
They brought in a psychic who told them that there was witchcraft involved here.
Oh my God.
And since there technically was a local cult that met in the nearby park, that wasn't wrong, but it was also a dead end.
Oh my God, come on.
The one big clue they had was the shoe print, and that did match that victim's boyfriend's shoe, but he was ultimately eliminated as a suspect. The public called for Leonard Christopher to be released, but his trial started November 29th, 1990.
That's ridiculous.
This was handled by the assistant district attorney named Judith Rubino. And she came in slugging. She was like, he's a vicious killer. He used a Rambo-style knife. That was definitely a particular Rambo-style knife.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
To slash and kill Terrell Dowd behind the fish market where he worked, which makes no logical sense because why would you murder somebody where you work or live?
Yeah, stupid.
She did admit that there were no witnesses to the murder, but she did say that she was going to call on witnesses who saw him leave that same alley. She said that there was blood on his clothes in his apartment and that he lied where he'd been. The defense attorney, McMahon, told the jury that Christopher was a pretty chill guy. He was well-liked. He had no history of violence. And the police were under a lot of pressure to pin the murders on somebody because they'd been incapable of finding the slasher for the last 5 years.
I was about to say, so many years.
Which caused Rubino to object to this. McMahon continued that there were 6 cases prior to Dowd that all seemed to be the work of a serial killer, and Christopher couldn't have done all of those. Rubino objected to that too. McMahon pointed out that while Christopher was in prison, another woman had been killed in the same manner in the same neighborhood. Rubino objected to that, and then the two started literally yelling at each other in court, and the judge had to call a sidebar to calm things down. Ultimately, McMahon was allowed to continue this line of discussion because this is just the opening statement.
Right, yeah.
He's quoted as saying, "Pressure sometimes presents unreliable results." And that the police were relying on evidence that would be discarded in any other case. Like the fact that the witnesses were a prostitute and a junkie, both with lengthy arrest records and 9 aliases between them, which made them very unreliable witnesses. In fact, one of the witnesses had admitted to lying to the police about the incident because she was friends with Leonard. And so he said her testimony shouldn't even be considered because now we don't know what's the truth. Oh, yeah. What she originally said or what she's saying now. McMahon also points out that there was no Rambo knife found in his home or anywhere near the crime scene. He had no injuries, though his supposed victim had fought back, and there is absolutely no physical evidence linking him to this crime scene. So Rubino countered in her statement that Christopher knew details about the crime that he shouldn't. Like he was able to mention to his boss that some older white lady had been killed behind the fish market and the police had not released those details.
Where did he work?
He worked at the fish market.
Okay, he could have seen some old white lady.
Well, that's my thing. Maybe they weren't lying about seeing him back there. Maybe he did see her, and maybe he looked at that and went, "Not my business,"
yeah, exactly.
And turned around and walked away.
Not gonna lie, I'd say not my business, but I still called the cops after I'd seen that body.
It reminds me of a joke from Mitch Hedberg where he says, imagine if you somebody got shot by an arrow, and you just see them in the woods, and you just go, "Look at that guy," and then you turn around and walk away.
That's probably what he did.
Ray, what would you I wouldn't stay there because if you stay there, you're going to be the first suspect.
Yep, exactly.
Especially if you're a black man in Philadelphia.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't have to
it's not like there wasn't a total FBI evaluation of the Philadelphia Police Department showing that they are super awful with crimes when it comes to black people. That totally didn't come out a couple years ago.
No, not at all. But yeah, I definitely turn around. But I was in a situation.
Well, apparently Christopher said something else weird.
Oh, come on.
So he was like, "Oh, this is so strange." He's like, "Maybe I killed her."
Why would you say that?
His boss, Miss Fung, said that when he described the murders, he also indicated with his hands that she had been gutted.
Come on, dude.
Now, Christopher did tell the police that he had seen a white man on the street at 1 a.m., but there was no one to corroborate that. I really, part of me is he saw the person who did this.
Yeah.
And then dipped out.
You fucked yourself over by saying stupid shit.
His boss testified that about 5 days later, he told her that he was having trouble sleeping after witnessing a murder, and he was convinced that a white man knew that he'd seen it and was going to kill him.
See, now that's something you say.
The following day, he got arrested. For physical evidence, the prosecution showed a tiny speck of blood on Christopher's pants, so small that it couldn't be tested for blood typing, and DNA evidence was still considered new and very expensive science, so they hadn't even tried it.
They didn't let that into the evidence, did they? Or into
the most they had was that there was a bloody tissue in the driveway near Christopher's apartment that was blood type O, which was the same blood type as Dowd. And I'm like, aren't there like 4 blood types?
Yeah. And
that's almost maybe 10 to 20% of the population is O.
And O is the most common. Ask me how I know.
Oh, right. That's your job. Right. So I'm like, this is a super common, but whatever. We're going to keep going.
Oh my God.
Christopher said he had seen that white man in the same driveway cleaning himself off. But of course, I didn't believe him, especially since he hadn't even been home of the night of the murders like he claimed. Mm-hmm. The trial was really shorter than most of the ones that usually I cover here. And closing arguments were done December 11th. McMahon offered a showing of Christopher's good morals and how many people had vouched for him, being a great person. He reminded the jury there was no motive, no weapon, no real evidence other than a speck of blood that's the same type as millions of people in America. Christopher's description of the man he saw matched the description of the man on all of the flyers around Frankford and the police sketch that was released. McMahon said that the prosecution's argument just didn't make sense, and he even told reporters after the closing arguments that he felt like this was a bad case that never should have been taken to trial. Mm-hmm. ADA Rubino asked the jury, why would the witness lie? It doesn't matter to them if they lie. One of them is a friend of Christopher's and had lied to help him at first. She also reminded the jury of other witnesses who had seen Christopher talking to Dowd at the bar. Reminded them that Christopher's girlfriend could not corroborate his alibi. And then she ended by going into a detailed analysis of what Dowd must have felt in her final moments right before she died. Yes, she went into that.
I hate prostitutes.
And then it was over. Jury deliberated for 4 hours. Then it was kind of quitting time. They were sent to sequestered housing. The next day they got up, they spent another 4 hours and came back with a conviction of first-degree murder. While they were reading the verdict, some of the reporters remarked that some jurors were visibly upset on the stand. So this was not a unanimous decision. Christopher didn't seem to show any reaction. And McMahon just kind of shook his head like he was shocked.
Yeah, that's fucking...
The prosecution asked for the death penalty, but they did not get it. He was given life in prison. Later, Christopher did tell reporters that he felt like he had been railroaded by the cops, who had probably coerced testimony from local prostitutes, and that he had never admitted anything to anybody outside of a couple of random things he'd said to his boss. Mm-hmm. McMahon told the papers that the real killer was definitely still out there. So many people, like Michael Newton, who started me on this quest of reading about this, he also released a book called Still at Large. It's called A Casebook of 20th Century Serial Killers Who Have Eluded Justice. And in that book, he lists the Frankford slasher as unsolved. Philadelphia PD have gone on record saying that Leonard Christopher was still a suspect in the other murders, but they had other suspects as well. And at least 7 of the Frankford slasher murders remain unsolved. It's possible that Leonard Christopher was a copycat. It's possible that there were several copycats. I would have liked to see that DNA evidence on those pants if it could still be tested now. I did see an article that they were looking into it because there have been some petitions to get him exonerated. Mm-hmm. For a time period, the Innocence Project was taking on his case. But he died from cancer a couple years ago. So as far as him being released from prison, that's never going to happen. At this point, they're just trying to, I guess,
clear his name.
Yeah. Definitely to me, it seems like somebody got away with murder.
It just sounds
maybe
like
more than a couple.
And, maybe he could have been like a copycat. Maybe he did, like, behind the fish market. He was doing something stupid back there.
Right.
But all those stab wounds.
And no evidence. No evidence of anybody covered in blood. That's the weird part.
Yeah. Like, he wasn't covered in blood. He just had his shirt off. And he had no freaking wounds on himself.
Right. And that's the thing that follows me, too. I mean, like, I feel like in a situation where someone's fighting back, there's going to be some kind of wounds.
Yeah, you got scratches on your face,
something.
on your arms or your chest. They like, something. Like, they didn't check underneath their nails for, like, skin flakes or shit like that. That's a thing that I've known.
Well, remember, DNA was still new. DNA testing was still new.
Yeah, I guess.
And so, I mean, at that point, it was probably wildly expensive. I mean, even in the case that I just talked about on TikTok about those 2 teenagers who killed the girl's dad, they're still waiting on, I think, all of the DNA sequencing and whatnot for those cases. And that crime happened 2 months ago. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They were, like, their official, like, we're officially charging you with what happened a couple days ago. Fun fact for TikTok listeners, they have decided to charge Sierra Hulseth as an adult, even though she is 16 years old.
Nice.
Her boyfriend was 18, so he was always going to be an adult, but yeah. So it's a sad, thing. And it's interesting because there was talk that in, like, the early 2000s, Frankfurt was going to get, like, revitalized. But I spent some time looking it up, and it is still considered to be the 9th most dangerous neighborhood in Philadelphia.
Oh.
They are still talking about redeveloping the area, but there's, of course, a very weird line of, we don't want to make the area inaccessible to the people who have lived there for decades. We don't want to gentrify it.
True.
The hope is that maybe it'll become a little less rough around the edges, but not a gentrified mess like other sections of the Philly.
So there are
like
8 other places.
Northern Liberties and Fishtown, just saying.
Yeah. There are 8 other neighborhoods that are more dangerous than this
There are, but you know what? They're all, like, within a mile of Frankfurt. So I looked at them on a map.
It's the same fucking neighborhood.
One of the favorite things I've seen in the last month was this woman who posted on Twitter and was like, I got an Airbnb and I heard that it was going to be in Kensington. And I thought that sounded like such a cute little name. Kensington is right near Frankfurt. It's also not a quaint little town like she thought it was. And I was like, oh, Lord, girl, you better go get your money back. That's not where you better pay and stay in Center City if you're a tourist.
Please.
You don't know where you're living, girl.
You go where you don't know.
But yeah, one of those weird situations where there is an official conviction on record. And as far as, like, police are, they're like, yeah, he probably did them all. Even though for the netizens, as they sometimes call people online, who are researching cases and things of that nature.
Oh, the internet Crime Stoppers or
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't believe it.
I don't believe it.
It's rough.
It's fucking ridiculous.
I told you. I was like, this is going to be frustrating.
I'm just mad. You got a white man. How many people gave you...
At least 4 different times they were like, there's definitely a white guy who's been hanging out with these old white ladies.
White man wearing glasses, round face. Same description from different people. But you go get this black guy.
I have a picture of the police sketches, but I don't think you want to see it.
I don't know. Thank you.
Well, if you put this on YouTube, you're going to have to find it eventually.
I don't like...
I know you don't. I'm sorry.
Oh my God. All right.
What?
So, onwards to my lovely story.
So, what's the flavor this week?
Okay.
Ghosts? Cryptids? Demons?
So, I talk a lot about ghosts and cryptids and demons.
Did you really write that in your notes?
That was my first line.
All I'm saying is, this just proves we're always vibing.
But, I have another interest.
Oh.
There's one more.
Oh, wait. Is this the Men in Black?
No, but it's close.
Okay. Because we talked about that one time. You said you were going to do
Mm-hmm.
we were going to do a real talk about the Men in Black.
I mean, I could do more stories about the Men in Black, but today we're going to be talking about aliens.
Okay.
Yeah, you gotta love stories about abductions from little green men or reptilians or...
There's so many different ones, though.
There are.
Like, I was just watching an episode of Dead Files where the lady, the medium, was like, this definitely feels like an alien or something from an interdimensional, like, existence. And I was like, how do you know that, Amy? And her recommendation was legitimately that they leave. She's like, I just leave this area. Don't even. I'm like, here's my thing, though. If I'm being stalked by an interdimensional being, can I go anywhere?
Not really.
That's how I feel, too.
They will find you. But you know what's funny? How there are, obviously different species of aliens.
Right, absolutely.
But if you talk about, like, little green men or, like, little gray aliens, they all look the same.
The gray men, yeah.
They all look the same.
I think that's based off of, like, the Area 51, right?
Yeah.
That concept of the Area 51 alien.
And
but, like, there's got to be more. I mean, listen. Star Wars came up with, like, 50 different species of aliens.
That's what I'm saying, though. Because, like, look at humans. Do we all look the same?
Of
We're
course
all
not.
the same fucking species.
Though we do all come from, like, the mother continent.
I mean, this is true.
Pangea.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. We kind of did all... But I mean, listen, maybe there's Martians, and because they're closer to the sun, they're like more brown. And then the ones further away from the sun are pale because they never get any sunlight and they don't have any melanin.
Possibly. Oh, you know what? I was going to say something else about, there's a type of Sasquatch.
Oh,
that's
yeah?
actually considered like an alien type. I forget what it's called. And I forget, it's out. Where's that mountain? That volcano out in California area?
The mountain range near California?
It's an active volcano out that way, out west. Or is that east? That's east. West.
There's active volcanoes in well, you know what? There are 7 California volcanoes.
Okay.
Medicine Lake, Mount Shasta, Lassen Volcanic, Clear Lake, Long Valley.
I think it's Mount Shasta.
Shasta? Okay.
Yeah. I think it's that one. There are Bigfoot that hang out around there who are said to have they're said to be more intelligent than, regular Bigfoot. They're just skinnier, taller, and they're different color. I think they're like blue or something. And they're supposed to be like aliens.
Wait a second. Blue Bigfoot? How have I never heard of that?
I think that's what color they are. Don't quote me on that, please.
I'm looking.
But I feel like if I'm going to talk about like different alien species, I might as well just start with, the basic, the grays.
Okay.
So gray aliens are described as beings with, small bodies. They have large heads. They have no hair. They have big black oval almond-shaped eyes, and smooth gray skin. Gray aliens are always the first that pop in, like, in my head. Well, a lot of Marvel and DC characters also pop in my head when I'm thinking about aliens, but, when I'm thinking about, like, real-life aliens,
I'm going to say, like, I've watched a bunch of different people go to that ranch.
Skinwalker?
You don't like to say that word.
Well, it's not night out. It's just raining.
You're not supposed to ever say it.
I say it a lot.
Well, you're also not indigenous. So we're not supposed to say it, so we don't. Regardless. And it's interesting because people have reported different, like, kinds of entity situations there
Yeah.
that are aliens. And some people report seeing like the little type gray man, little green man.
Yeah.
And for some reason, that's the one that frightens me the most because it's so weird looking.
Well, they're actually really closely related to reptilian aliens as well, just because their skin is just like they have scales, and if you look really close at them,
like for some reason, I'm like, I see like I've seen like weird light manifestations in the sky. I've seen videos like that look almost like a rip in the sky, or those lights that come down and move around lightly, or like around that ranch, they've seen lights that kind of move from window to window, and it's just a bright light from nowhere.
Yep.
That doesn't frighten me at all. But the idea that I wake up one night and in the corner of my room is a little gray guy, I'm losing my shit. Not only am I losing my shit, but I'm gonna like pick up anything remotely heavy and begin chucking it across the room at that thing. That just looks awful. I would be less afraid of an actual ghost apparition in here. I don't know why. It just seems so wrong.
Yeah, that's the uncanny valley, don't you think?
Maybe it's it because it's got the slightly off rubbery skin. The eyes are too big, like anime eyes. Those aren't real people eyes.
Yeah.
Can you imagine a gray man though with the cute little like ooh woo?
Oh my god! Stop. Oh my goodness.
So when did we first start hearing about the grays?
Grays, I do believe our very first publicized report of them was Roswell.
Okay.
Oh, but did you know that? Well, I actually made this number up, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty true. Like 73% of alien sightings are like gray aliens. I'm pretty sure it's wrong, but you know, probably like 50.
I love that you preface that statistic as I made this up, as if. Like, isn't there like a statistic that says that like a certain percentage of statistics are made up and you just made one up?
I'm just saying 73% of they're so common. 73% of people have reported to see gray. Don't shake your head at me. Okay.
No, that's the one I don't want to see.
Oh, I know. But
I'd be more in like I'd be happier with like I don't know, like a random Star Wars type alien than a gray.
This is true.
If a Chewbacca showed up, I'd be like, "What's up, fam?"
Yeah. Wookiee.
There you go. A Wookiee. They have actual names.
They have actual names.
However, I don't like the little ones with the black faces. They annoy me.
You talking about the Ewoks?
They're super cute, but the sound they make is profoundly annoying. One time I was on a Minecraft server where they replaced all of the villagers with Ewoks. It was super annoying. It's more annoying than the sound that they actually make. Terrible noise.
Oh, goodness. So
the majority of things are grays, which is scary. Okay.
That's what I think of anyway. But yeah, when I think of alien sightings, you know, you always go back to Roswell, New Mexico. You know, one of the first sightings or first, you know, things where they found little gray men, or, you know, Area 51, where they may or may not be keeping these said little corpses of little gray men.
Right, at this point they'd be dead, right?
Yeah. I don't know, maybe. You don't know their lifespan.
Cryogenically frozen.
True. But I know, well, the crash in Roswell, they did uncover, like, dead bodies. Well,
okay.
Well, I know that
this
that
is
was,
what the general consensus is online.
Yeah, the bodies were dead. So they were.
Now, what's the official? What do the government say about Roswell, New Mexico?
What's Roswell?
That's there's an actual city there.
What happened there? What year are you talking about? That what? There's something happened there?
I mean, my favorite thing is that, like, if you visit there, it's just all alien motifs all over the place. Every picture I've seen has cute little green people smiling.
Yes. So we're not talking about Roswell today. Or Area 51. Okay. Did you know that there are even people out there who believe that aliens have been here visiting our planet for over thousands of years? Yeah?
Yeah.
Ancient alien researchers.
Okay, I do not like that guy from Ancient Aliens.
I even wrote his name down. It's Giorgio. His name is Giorgio, but I forget how to pronounce his last name.
Here's the thing that always irked me, right? I hate the concept that, like, we look at, like, ancient civilizations and we go, there's no way people could do this. It had to have been aliens. And I'm like, why can't there have been smart, like, no one says that the Parthenon was created by aliens, only Egypt. And I just think it's an interesting factor that the African country, we debate whether they created the pyramids, but we don't debate whether Athens was created by aliens. Please, I'm just saying.
Go off. Go off. But no, I was actually going to get into that. So, ancient alien researchers, I was watching this episode of Ancient Aliens, which is called The Grays, which I was going to do my research off of. Mm-hmm. But as I was watching it, I was like, I don't want to do this shit.
Was that what you were telling me? There's a show I have to watch and I don't want to watch it?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my god. I was like, I do not want to do my research off of this fucking show. Anyway, I watched a little bit of it. In the beginning, they're talking about alien abductions that, recent ones that have happened, but they obviously make it go back to ancient times where they find skulls of elongated heads. And at first I was like, do y'all not know about head binding as an infant? You don't know what head binding is?
I do know, but I never contemplated.
Like, because they find these skulls in, like, Africa or, like, Peru.
Well, I mean, they did foot binding in China for thousands of years. So, and I mean, we've probably binded a lot of things, and they do the neck thing too.
This is true.
Cool gold neck pieces.
So, foot binding in China.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, I know that was used as like a royalty thing, like, you know what I mean? Like they're higher ups on the patriarchy, or whatever you want to call it back then. Mm-hmm. Same thing for head elonging or head binding. Same thing. That was like a status symbol. If you had like a elongated head, you're like, that guy's royalty. I know. But I guess, Ancient Aliens crew, they said, I don't know, that was like an alien head instead. These are actually alien skulls. That's what we found there. And then you brought up the pyramids. There have actually been like studies done that they found like ramps that, I don't know, maybe ancient Egyptians could have used to.
There's ramps inside of them.
Yeah, like there's things like you.
It's unfortunate because I'd really like to go visit, but I'm also terribly claustrophobic.
True. Yeah, I don't want pyramids, mummies.
Awesome.
But yeah, like people, this could have been done.
We could spend hours talking about mummies.
Oh my god, no mummies today. But yeah, that's just the thing that, like, it made me laugh. I was like, I'm not doing my research off of you guys today. Sorry. Maybe when I'm doing a joke Ancient Aliens episode. Where was I in my notes? God damn it. Okay. So I was in that one, and then, Ancient Egyptians. Yes. So anyway, like I said, we're not getting Ancient Aliens today. I want to talk about a certain alien abduction. Just one today. It's a pretty nice one. I'm pretty sure you might know this one, but if you know about aliens, you might know it.
I know a little bit about aliens.
Okay, well, if you heard about aliens, this might be a topic that people.
I only know about that ranch because a lot of ghost shows go there.
This is true.
Because they report all kinds of activity: alien, spirit, other beings.
The other thing we don't say at night.
I don't say the thing.
Or at all.
Okay, the rule is that you don't whistle at night.
You don't whistle at night. I did
you
that.
don't say the name at all.
Sometimes I find myself whistling at night.
The issue is, if something whistles back, you have a problem.
This is true. Then I'm running away and running back into the building.
It might be too late at that point.
True.
You're the one who introduced me to not deer in Pennsylvania.
Those are cool looking, though.
They look terrifying.
I know. Okay, so in the characters had memorable names in this story.
Okay.
As soon as you hear them, you're like,
we'll see.
Okay. So my source for this story today is MUFON.com. MUFON. It's a ufology website, or actually it's an organization. It's an organization that studies and researches UFOs, and alien reports and stuff like that, and they do it to educate people as well about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's really awesome. I think I signed up for that under newsletter.
Oh,
Look, aliens.
And now I'm just imagining you in the place wearing the brown suit, going, "It's not aliens, but it's aliens." I just saw you. We need to recreate that and make that your picture
There you
on
go.
TikTok.
Yes, there you go. It's not aliens, but aliens.
Make that your TikTok picture.
Oh my god.
Your shirt now is brown.
This is true. So, anywho, this like if you want to look up any more about MUFON, just check out their website MUFON.com, and that's basically where I got this story from. So yeah, let's get into it. September 19th, 1961, a local couple of Portsmouth, New Hampshire, Betty and Barney Hill.
Okay.
Have you heard of those people before?
Yeah, I'm out of this one.
No.
Nope.
You didn't even laugh because their names are Betty and Barney.
I did. Okay, I do get the Lucy reference.
Is what? No, Fristos.
Oh no, I thought of. Oh, you're right. Rubble.
Yeah, they were.
I was like, why was I thinking I Love Lucy?
I don't know. It's Frank.
That's Frank.
Frank and whatever her name is. Yeah, from I Love Lucy. But anyway, Betty and Barney. They're driving home from a vacation in Niagara Falls. They're just south of Lancaster, New Hampshire. I'm not sure if they pronounce it Lancaster or Lancaster.
There's so many places named Lancaster in Pennsylvania, and I didn't know until recently.
In Pennsylvania?
I just sent jewelry to someone who lives in like Lancaster, South Carolina.
Oh, you mean in the United States?
In the U.S.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, right? It's crazy.
I saw Lancaster and I was about to be excited. I was about to like message them on Facebook and be like, because I know the person, and I was like, "Hey, oh, never mind."
But yeah, I'm not like some people pronounce it Lancaster, but we up here,
us Northerners say Lancaster.
Yeah, it's Lancaster. Anyway, Lancaster, New Hampshire. When Betty sees this bright point of light moving across the night sky. So it's about 10:30 at night. The stars are out, but this wasn't no shooting star moving around. This bright light, according to Betty, moved from the bottom of the moon, and I guess around where Jupiter is, to the west of the moon. So it moved from down and went up and around the moon, I guess. Now, Betty knows this isn't a shooting star either, so she starts thinking it's a plane or a satellite dish out there, because sometimes, they do move around. You're just like, what the fuck is that moving? And it's like a blinking thing in, the night sky. And I'm like, oh, that's probably just a satellite. I see it a lot, but then I'm like, maybe it's not a satellite. Maybe it's a UFO. So as the light got larger and brighter, now she tells Barney to pull over. She to get a better look of what this thing is.
This sounds eerily similar to the Mothman situation. Just saying. So
they pull over to the scenic area, and Betty whips out her binoculars, and
she's got those on lock.
Yeah,
huh?
I got them on deck.
In my purse, just binoculars,
the 60s, I guess. Is binoculars.
Where was the binocular time? Was she a low key bird watcher and she just didn't want to be honest?
Probably.
Because listen, the bird watcher community is very intense.
So she sees an odd shaped craft flying around. It had multicolored lights, and she immediately thinks it's one of them. It's one of them. Their UFOs her sister told her about.
It's one of them. Their UFOs.
So at the same time, Barney whips out his binoculars as well.
That's right.
So he's
definitely bird watchers. This is a pair of bird watchers for sure.
And he's like, "No, that's just a plane. It's going, from somewhere from Vermont to this other place." But then, why is it turning towards us? It's like, Betty, let's kick rocks. And let's get out of here. Get it? Kick.
I like that term.
Kick rocks.
Betty, let's kick rocks. There you go.
Because Flintstones, they kick. Gotcha.
Like when you run on gravel. I got you. I got you, fam.
Oh. So anyway, they leave.
These are the smartest white people ever.
Oh, I didn't tell you. They're not.
Oh, they're not?
Betty is white.
Okay.
Barney is black.
Oh.
So
well, that makes sense. The black man's was like, let's go.
Mm-hmm. So they're interracial married couple in the 60s. So actually, when I saw pictures of them, I was like,
also in Massachusetts. No, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Sorry. A lot of stuff. A lot of recent stuff happened in Massachusetts, so my brain's still there. But no, New Hampshire. So maybe New Hampshire was, a little nicer in the 60s.
It was cool. So as they're driving along, they drive slowly. Just so they can keep an eye on it, so it's not like getting ahead of them or trying to like cut them off or something like that.
See, that's scary.
It looks suspicious to them. So as they're driving along, they see it like go over a restaurant. It goes over a station tower. Betty says it's at least 40 feet long.
Did nobody else see this?
I'm not sure. It's 10 o'clock. It's 10:30.
That's like there is one I guess not ghost, like alien story. I remember it happened in New York, and like multiple people saw it in different places at different times.
Yeah,
but like still, I feel like in a massive city, more people should have seen it.
But they're driving in the country right now.
True.
So this isn't like they're driving around mountains and shit. Like
yeah, that's where most like of the abductions and stuff happen, isn't it? Like where there's like nobody.
Basically. So she says it's like 40 feet long, and it seems to be rotating. It also seemed to be toying with them, like it knew that they were watching it, so it would like bounce around the sky.
I haven't seen this story, but I've heard other people make the same claims,
like
that the lights rotate.
Yeah. So this little game would come to an end soon enough, though. So the object descends towards their car, causing Barney to like brake in the middle of the highway.
Oh no!
That they're on.
Oh no, Barney.
Yeah, Barney's like, enough is enough, so he like grabs his pistol and he gets out of his car to go confront this hovering. It's like right now it's hovering in front of him.
I pull out my gun. Sorry.
So yeah, he got his pistol, he goes out and it's just hovering, and like for some reason, he thinks to, like, use his binoculars to see what the fuck is this thing with the bright lights and stuff shining at them. And he sees that there are at least 8 figures looking back at him from the object's windows.
No!
At least 8. It says, like, 8 to 12 figures. So I just put, like, at least 8.
Maybe a couple of them had extra eyes.
Extra heads, maybe.
You never know.
So, all the creatures, minus one, they walk away from the windows, and then Barney starts getting this, like, message sent to his head. And it's telling him to, like, stay where you are and keep looking.
You turn around and look away, right? Turn away.
So Barney, smart man, he's like, fuck this. And he runs back to his car. He's
way smarter than the other alien guy we talked to.
I know. And he tells Betty, like, they're going to capture us, so we gotta book it. Like, we gotta get the hell out of here. And so he tells her, like, to keep an eye out the window for this thing, because apparently as soon as he runs back to his car, the object flies over the car as soon as he gets in, and then it disappears. So I don't know where it's at.
Cloaking devices.
So Betty looks out the window for the object, since it flew over, like I just said, and it saw nothing. She saw nothing when she looked outside the window towards the sky. Not even the stars.
Yeah, it's sea cloaking.
When it was a starry night. So
yep, that's exactly what that was.
Yeah, apparently the object or the UFO had landed on top of their car. Or was hovering above their car. That's what I'm getting from this.
This is uncomfortable.
So, the next thing that happens is, Betty and Barney, they hear a beeping and buzzing sounds just like rhythmic beeping and buzzing noises just radiating throughout their car. So much that their car starts vibrating. And then they start to experience what they call an altered state of consciousness. So like they kind of like
in and out.
Yeah, in and out. They kind of blacked out.
Okay.
So they blacked out, and then they came to after hearing another series of beeps and buzzing. It's really weird. After they woke up, they realized they were like 35 miles more south than they were before, and only had vague memories of how they may have gotten there, like including a roadblock and a fiery orb in the middle of the road. Yeah, interesting, right? So they drive home. You know, they're trying to piece together, you know,
what happened.
Try to see, you know, the memories that add up, and you know,
okay,
blah 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 blah. They notice things are torn, like the binocular strap that Barney had. It was ripped.
Fuck your extendo eyes.
What else? His shoes, I guess they seemed more scraped up than they were before. He had dress shoes on, so you know, you can tell when there's more.
Right. If they're dress shoes, they were polished and now they're dusty.
Yep. And Barney felt compelled to check his genitals out, but found nothing unusual. But he felt compelled. Now,
it's not that crazy.
Yeah.
You don't like.
See, and I don't know if it's this story or not, but there's another story about UFOs, abductions, where some man got abducted. It's not this. I don't think it's this one, but he got abducted, and when he came to, he checked out himself, and then he found like this piece of hair just wrapped tightly around his penis. And
creepy.
Yeah. It was just terrible. I was like, I don't think it's this story, but it's, you know what I mean? Sometimes aliens may be using us for hybrid
No,
projects.
they're testing.
Or is that too?
I've never thought that they were
making hybrids at all.
No, they're just testing.
True.
That's such a random thought. Making how does that doesn't?
I don't know.
With animals, you just splice the genes. You don't try and have sex with the animal.
Speaking of hybrids, I'm going to go off the rails right now.
Okay.
Have you seen Sweet Tooth on Netflix?
I have not watched it yet.
Just watch that show. It's actually pretty good. And I think it's like a DC-based show or something like that. It's made by Warner Brothers, but it's about animal-human hybrids that are born while this pandemic is going on.
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah. It's interesting. You would probably like it. I'm trying to figure out where the fuck I left off. Talking about different shit. So, yeah. He found nothing unusual, but they both got showers to, like, get the nastiness off of maybe being abducted by aliens.
Solid.
Mm-hmm. So later, they did draw pictures of said object that they saw.
Ooh.
I may or may... Let me see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, I got it. So here, this is a picture of them. Betty and Marnie.
Pretty normal.
Yeah, normal looking couple. And come on, load picture. Okay, so this is a picture that, like, Barney drew of the said
thing you saw?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
It's very long.
It is very long. That's what she said. So they both drew pictures separately of this, this thing. And, they came together, showed each other pictures. Hey, that's the same thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Smart.
Mm-hmm. So Betty took a nap the same day. And then she placed her clothes from the night before into her closet. And, then she noticed that she had some tears on hers as well.
Right. Okay.
And there was some type of pink dust on her dress as well. Yeah. So I guess she said, like, she hung it out and then, like, the dust just came off with the wind. And she's like, the dress was ruined, but then, so she threw it away.
Of course she did.
But then she's like, let me just think about that again. So she brought it back in. Ooh. And she hung it back in her closet.
Okay.
Yeah, apparently people, researchers have done tests on her dress as well.
Oh.
For this pink substance.
Oh, that's super interesting.
I know, right? They also found, like, shiny little circle grooves, I guess, on the back of their car, on their trunk.
How do more people not know about this then? If they did tests and stuff on it?
I'm not sure. And when they placed a compass, like, on these circles, it, like, went crazy. So these were, like, magnetized little circles that were from this object that had landed on their car.
Right.
So, yeah. So, 10 days after the incident, Betty starts having dreams that last for about 5 days. And I have her little stories. Let me just... I don't know why my phone is dying so fast.
So memories, pretty much?
Yeah, that's basically what they might be.
Oh.
So, let's see. Let me read off this I got from MUFON. Okay, so in November 1961, Betty began writing down the details of her dreams. In one dream, she and Barney encountered a roadblock and men who surrounded their car. She lost consciousness but struggled to regain it. She didn't realize that she was being forced by two small men to walk in a forest in the nighttime. And of seeing Barney walking behind her, though when she called to him, he seemed to be in a trance or sleepwalking. The men stood about 5 feet to 5 feet to 4 inches, 5'5" to 4 inches tall, and they wore matching uniforms with caps similar to those worn by military.
Okay.
So these might be like military aliens, stuff like that. Maybe military cadets, aliens. Let's see. They appeared nearly human, but with bald heads, large wrap-around eyes, small ears, and almost no nose. Their skin was grayish. It's really weird, huh?
I just listening.
I know. Let's see what else. It says, in the dreams, Betty and Barney and the men walked up the ramp into a disc-shaped craft of metallic appearance. Once inside, Betty and Barney were separated. She fought back and was told by a man she called the leader that if she and Barney were examined together, it would take much longer to conduct the exams. She and Barney were then taken to separate rooms. Betty then dreamt that a new man, similar to the others, entered to conduct her exam with the leader. And let's see, though the leader and examiner spoke to her in English, the examiner, like, command of language seemed imperfect. So he was like just learning. So think of like the Men in Black, how they were just like, remember I told you about them and how they would just talk like they didn't know how to talk, but they knew the language. It's just, yeah, something like that. Let's see. There was the examiner man. He cut off some of her hair.
Oh.
He examined, her eyes, ears, mouth, teeth, blah, 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 that good stuff. Her fingernails. He trimmed her fingernails for some reason.
They do. I always say that they do that. They take a fingernail sample.
Really?
I've heard people say that too.
Let's see. And I guess he tested her nervous system, and he thrusted a needle into her navel. So
that's where the babies come out.
Yeah. So maybe they were. I'm telling you,
that's not where the babies come out. I'm just being an ass.
I'm telling you, that's the navel. That's where you're getting the stuff from. That who was at the belly button?
That's what that's what kids say.
Yeah.
When they say it came out of your butt.
It came out of your belly button.
That's why they be probing back there. Because I think that's where the babies come from.
Oh, because they hear kids saying it. Obviously, what kids say is right. The smaller of the species is always the correct one. They know what is going on. It's funny. What were we watching the other day? A Teen Titans Go movie. Teen Titans Go to the movies, right? At the end, freaking Robin, he goes, "Kids, ask your parents where babies come from." And of course, Jaden and Cassandra, they're like, "Where do babies come from?" And we're like, "Oh, you really want to know? Do you really want to know?" And they're like, yeah. And we started telling them, and they're like, "Never mind. You don't want to hear about this anymore." I'm like, "You wanted to know." But yeah. Oh. So, yeah, basically, after they had their exams done, they got escorted back to their cars, and, that was the end of that. So, I guess later on, after she had reported this incident, they had set up a hypnotism type of thing for both her and Barney. And while hypnotized, the guy conducting it, the doctor conducting it, he said that Betty's, her hypnotized account was the same as her dream account.
Okay.
As well. And he said that Barney's wasn't like he believed that it happened, but that he was like feeding off of Betty's dreams that she had told him.
Right.
So,
which is thoroughly plausible.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe like he didn't believe it at first, but then under the suggestive power of hypnotism.
Well, it's not even that. It's just without being hypnotized, suggestion is a very powerful tool, and it can lose entire cases if police lead witnesses.
This is true.
So that's why, like in eyewitness testimony, like you can't lead the person at all. Yeah,
leading the witness as a thing. So yeah, that's basically their account. Like they went off. There was a book written about this as well. Mm-hmm. God, let me see if I can find the name of the book. But give me information. I'm sorry. I should have wrote this down. It wasn't that one. It was a different
I do that all the time too. I know. Like I'm sure there's a book right next to you that lists the age of Leonard Christopher, and I didn't write it in the notes.
I should have wrote it down.
I wrote everybody else's freaking age down except the potential suspected killer.
Okay, it's called The Interrupted Journey.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it was written in 1966 as well.
Oh wow, it's probably out of print then.
Yeah. So psychiatrists reported that they later on they suggested that maybe the abduction was a hallucination.
Shared hallucinations do exist.
Brought on by them being an interracial couple in the early 1960s.
Here's the problem. This is the first time that anybody's ever explained people who look like that. Yeah. Where'd that come from?
I don't know. I think there are other books ahead of that. Like, I forget what year Roswell's was, but it was before this one. So, maybe... And like I said, her sister did mention things to her about aliens as well. So, who knows?
Who knows?
But that's what I got for, that one. That was a nice little, alien abduction story that they're still talking about.
Yeah.
There's your aliens.
There is.
The truth is out there, people. Watch X-Files. That was my favorite show. But yeah, that's all I got for this week. Anything you want to add?
Well, add nothing to this, but apparently in the last week we got 2 new reviews.
Oh, on Apple?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And they're both positive.
Oh, nice.
One by someone named Classy Lady and 3, who said that we showed up in her suggested podcast. So apparently we're being suggested to people now, which is frightening. And she said, I've been in love ever since. Your voices are great. I could listen to the same episodes over and over if I had to. Keep up the great work, y'all. Then another one that says, I've started binge listening to a few days ago, and I'm absolutely obsessed. Keep up the good work. And that person's name is Taylor W., 1994.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was nice.
I don't think I know any of those people, so they're definitely not my friends.
Right.
Leaving reviews for us.
Well, I don't think I think the youngest person I know is my sister, who was born in like 1990.
Oh.
Like, no. Like, there's a couple people I work with who are younger, but.
But that's awesome. Thank you guys for the reviews.
Yeah, that's a nice positive thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really it for all of us. Like usual, if you want to see me talk about random crime stuff, I'm always on the TikTok at least once a day.
Yeah.
I sporadically do live streams. You can't rely on me at all.
She needs a schedule.
Brian does Twitch every Sunday.
Every Sunday, 6 to 10.
6 o'clock, 6 to 10.
Eastern Standard Time.
Yes. We just started exploring
Hades.
The roguelike world of Hades.
I love it.
From Supergiant Games, which has made a couple of games that are really awesome, and I like them. So I wasn't surprised that it is an enjoyable experience, even to watch.
I'm thinking of adding another game to my repertoire. Repertoire? Yeah.
I was actually going to ask you about, since I get off of work so much earlier, if you'd be able to like stream a little bit during the week, or if there's no time for that.
Oh, I probably can. You know what? I probably
like
can.
If I got off at like 3 and get home by like 3:30.
Yeah, I could probably do it for like a couple hours. The screenplay.
I was like, would you have? Because I mean, that might help your stream get bigger.
Yeah. So yeah, I could probably add.
And also, you could get practice at Hades.
Oh my god. I got so far the last time.
The one time you got super far.
Yeah.
And then you couldn't get back.
And I couldn't get them because Meg came and she killed
Megara is. Yo, if the first Fury sister is that hard, fam.
If anybody doesn't know that anybody who knows me knows that I like Greek mythology. So that's a lot of.
Oh yeah, there were loads of moments of us just stopping and talking about Greek mythology in the middle of the stream.
I was just
so if you want to hear us do podcast type stuff, but on a game and podcast ramble while Brian plays a game, definitely go to Foxy Trainer. Also, feel free to, if you pop on the Discord, if you pop on TikTok, there's a link that links you to every single place where we are on the internet.
Yep.
You can follow us on the Discord. It always sends out an invite when we're live streaming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we just love to see new people pop in the Discord.
I'm still selling all kinds of jewelry. I still have loads of knives and guns and things if you'd like to buy those.
Yes. Patreon is coming up soon.
Right. I actually got word from our artists that we should receive the final stuff in the next 24 hours.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a new logo as well.
I have a new logo. We're going to have probably some different t-shirts.
It's going to be awesome. By the time you guys hear this, we'll have it.
Right, that's true. Yeah, by the time you hear this, we'll have it. If you've listened all the way to the end, thank you so much. Just like I did with the other 2 people who left reviews, we absolutely will shout you out if you send us a message, if you leave us a voicemail. My DMs are open on TikTok. Please fill them with something interesting, not just links to random videos. I would love to know what you want to hear about. See if there's anybody new, any new killers or things that interest you.
Yeah, and if you have any scary stories you want, read, please send those.
Yeah.
I kind of want to do like a listeners
episode?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And also, like I said to anybody else who's still listening, we want to do a, Twitch day where we get to play like a Jackbox game or Gartic Phone with you all.
Or like Among Us.
There are roughly 1,400 people who listen weekly.
Yeah.
A consistent basis of around 1,400 people. We want to play with you. We want to laugh with you. I think Gartic Phone has a mode where you can have like over 15 people all drawing simultaneously. So that would be pure chaos, and we'd love to do that with you. Otherwise, thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, thanks guys. Appreciate it. And it's good to be back.